Hello and welcome to Advice with Prince. So my guest today is an actress, a songwriter, a singer. She just got off the road with her himself. As a lead, this is a singing somebody. She designs clothes as well. Give it up for Miss Alexis Hollins. Alexis, how are you?
Hi.
Thank you so much. So, you guys, I'm sure that they all have seen Alexis somewhere. She's everywhere. Her credits are just, she just got credits. And if you see her, you know she can sing. Not sing, but sing. There's a difference, okay? Not everybody can sing, right? She also a vocal coach, so she can tell you if you can't sing or sing. She can tell you all
I usually try not to tell people they can't sing, but you're right.
I can't sing. I can't sing.
You never know. You never know.
No. I'm definitely not
You might
singing
be able to learn. You never know. You never know.
No, cause I saw you several times live. There's
Oh, wow.
there's no way I saw you that the last time I saw you. Yeah, I saw that show sometime. Anyway, I'm sorry. Let me get back to hosting the show. So, of course, we're going to talk about the play and all that later on. But how do you get started singing?
Well, I've been singing all my life. My whole family, they all sing. If they don't sing, they play instruments. So it's kind of a natural thing. You know, my family, they do it. And then, of course, I was raised in church. So, you know, anytime you're raised in church and they know you can sing, they want you to sing. So that was kind of where I started as far as practice, you know, like being in front of people and leading and being out in the front. I did that for the first time in church. So that's kind of where I got my actual start. But as far as getting out there and doing work, I actually started by doing competitions. So I would do singing and talent competitions. And when I was younger, I did about 25 competitions and I won 23 of them. So I was really good at competitions. And I mean, I've won $12,000 and $5,000. So that was kind of my way of making money, was just kind of like going around and doing competitions. And that's kind of what started me, because when, you know, you go out and you do these competitions, you meet other people that do that stuff too. So then they would tell me about gigs, and, you know, then you would just show up and just, it kind of snowballed from there. You know, you find yourself meeting people who introduce you to opportunities, and yeah, that's where it all started.
So you do a lot in Atlanta. Who are some singers that you work with? Because a lot of people do background work, studio sessions. So who have you worked with?
Well, I've actually been blessed to work with a few people. I've worked with, and forgive me, because I've been doing this so long, so I'm the worst. I don't write stuff down like I should. But I've done work with Monica Brown. I've done work with, of course, Tyler Perry. I've done work with different television shows like Greenleaf, different shows on OWN. I've done a lot of work for, I'm sure there are more people, but I've done work for different artists like Flo Rida and Usher. And a lot of what I did at the beginning of my career was I was called a reference singer. So say, for example, if Beyonce was doing a new album and she needed music and you were a producer and a writer and you wrote a song for her, you would call me in to sing the song so she would know how it goes. So So I did a lot of work like that, where I would reference songs for different artists. And I did that for about 10 years. So I've done all kinds of work with all kinds of people. A lot of these people I've never met. Some of them I've met personally, I know personally. I've worked with Q Parker from 112. I've worked with a few people, but that's kind of a general idea.
Wow. So you are all over this place.
I'm wherever you want me.
Yeah, as long as you getting paid. As long as you getting paid. Run that check. Run that check, okay? And also, I said in the introduction, you are a vocal coach. So, how does that work? Like, what's your kind of teaching style?
I actually consider myself a holistic vocal coach. I started vocal coaching about maybe about almost 10 years ago, to be honest. And I didn't consider myself a vocal coach. A mentor of mine actually called me in, and she kind of threw me in there. She needed somebody, and I really wasn't prepared, but I did it, and I ended up realizing that I was really good at it. And when you start seeing people that you're teaching, when they start growing, and you see that they're starting to change and they're starting to get better, you're like, oh, wow, I'm really good at this. And then I soon realized that my method of teaching, my style of teaching was a lot different than what most people do. I think in a regular general vocal coaching setting, I like to focus on the person. I like to focus on where they are personally and specifically, because when you're a part of an industry like this, it's not just about how good you are. A lot of it plays on how you kind of value yourself. A lot of that makes a difference. So if you don't see yourself as a star, but you want to be a star, to bridge that gap takes a lot of internal work. So not only do I focus on the physical vocal of the person, but I focus on where their mind is and kind of bridging that gap between who they are and who they want to be, and kind of doing the work with that as well. So it's not just about the voice. I show you how to use your voice, and then I let you know that I teach a lot of my students. It's not something that, I mean, a lot of people are born with the natural gift to sing, but if you really want to learn, you can learn. You know, the it factor isn't something, you know, everybody's born with a certain it factor. I consider the it factor, you know, who are you when you're around your friends and when you're around your family? You know, you have that really relaxed, and you're yourself, you're your most comfortable self. That's typically, you know, the thing that makes you unique. That's what the it factor is. And so when we can get people to kind of take those walls down and to be completely, like, feel safe being completely themselves when they're singing, no matter what their hang-ups are, no matter what their insecurities are, but they find that bravery to be able to sing, then it's easier to kind of build and teach them. So that's kind of my teaching style. I call it holistic vocal coaching because I focus on the whole person, not just their voice, you know. So
okay. Yeah, because there's a whole lot that goes into it. Of course, you know, the career that we're in, it's not all about just the talent. It's about, like, the whole package. And sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes that's not so good. So, you kind of just have to gauge that for yourself. Now I did not know this, but my producers told me that you were on Sunday's Best.
I was.
How was that? How was that audition process?
You know, that
audition. Well, we all know that those auditions are not always, they're like the third or fourth. You go through producers before you get to the real people. So It's a lot. But how was it for you though?
Sunday Best was a different experience. I've done all the major shows. I've done American Idol. I've done America's Got Talent. I've done The Voice. I've done all the major shows that you see. So I've gone through the process of all of them. Sunday Best is similar, but it is a little different where I think you have to go through like 1 or 2 preliminary rounds. And even those rounds, they're with actual artists. They're with actual gospel artists in the industry. Even the preliminary rounds, they're not with producers. They're with people that you would know. And then you probably go through 1 or 2 of those rounds, and then you make it to the people, the judges that you see on television. I actually did Sunday Best twice. I did it once when I was about 19, and then I did it again when I was about 22, 23. I did season 13. And what was interesting, I won't go into detail because I'm not sure how much detail I can go into. But to your point, it was really interesting because when I made it the first time, they had already kind of decided who was going to be on the show. And when I came in and redid my audition, they were just refilming auditions just for, you know, to be able to air. My audition was 1,000 times better than my previous audition. And so literally, I won't say the judges' names, but you know them. The judges were literally like, we can't show this audition on TV. America won't understand why you didn't get put on this show, you know? And they were really like, that's when I realized like, wow, it is more about politics than it is about, you know, people's talent. And I think a lot of people forget about that when they go to these competitions, and when they don't get chosen, they get really like sad. And it's like, no, you have to understand they're going for something really specific, you know, and it's not always about who's really good and who's not. Now, when I did it the second time around, again, I didn't want to do it, but people at my church, they were like, you gotta do it, you gotta do it. And so I went and I just did it, just because I really feel like, I believe you shouldn't leave any opportunity on the table. You know, if you just never know when God's gonna bless you, you just never know when it's gonna be your moment. So I always believe in just show up and let God do the rest. And I showed up. I waited in line. It was raining. I waited for about 17 hours. And finally I got in there, and it was the regular, you know, regular thing all year round. And then about a month later, I got a phone call, and they said that I was an alternate. So I didn't actually make the show. It was between me and 2 other people. And they wanted me to come, and they wanted me to do all the rehearsals with the real contestants. And then they would decide at the end of the week who out of the 3 alternates would make it. And I was the alternate that made it. So I was actually the alternate that made it, but I was the first person to go home that season. I went home because apparently my dress was inappropriate. So Donnie McClurkin thought my dress was inappropriate. And I actually told him, I saw him a few years ago. I was like, you know, you're the reason I got kicked off that show. And he said, well, look at you now. But it was definitely a really fun experience.
No, but seriously, like, well, look at me now. Like, yeah, that's hilarious. Wow.
I still have that dress too. I was thinking about selling it, but I was like, I still have this dress. I don't think I've worn it since then.
No, keep it. No, keep it as, you know, like, okay. Exactly. Okay, and also I don't want to forget, Alexis has her own clothing line and company, so I wanna talk about that real fast. And also she was doing God's work with these masks that she created, which were lovely. And I know it took a lot of time, and you were kind of frustrated a little bit, but like, thank you for that. And just tell people like what can they expect from the elected. I think it's Hollins, and what's the green name?
It's from HollinsHaynes.com, and that's the name of my line, Hollins Haynes. And basically what you can expect, expect the unexpected, because, you know, this fashion journey, I've been on it only for a few years, but only within the last year or so have I gotten serious enough to actually present it to the world and try to sell it, sell the things that I make. So I'm on my own journey, really discovering. I'm a maker. I'm a creative. I love to make things and discover new things and try new things and push the limits and see what I can and can't do. But you know, I'm a creative and I love making clothes and all kinds of things, but I'm still, you know, figuring out what my lane is as far as, you know, with fashion. People kind of want to know who you are and what you do. So I'm figuring a lot of that out, and how to correlate that into a business, because I've been singing forever. So this is kind of fresh territory for me, doing fashion. So I'm learning a lot as I go. But right now, I'm really just making the things that people want, you know, or the things that come to my mind. Is really kind of an organic experience right now, which probably, I'm sure there are a bunch of business owners out there cringing like, what? But I'm okay with my process. I think that that's what.
That makes sense, because being someone that has a business, especially now, you never know what's going to happen. And so, like, you just, because I never saw myself being a talk show host at all. But so I think, like, it's okay to kind of not know yet what the clothing line is going to be, because, you know, God might speak to you in a different way. You know, it might come to you right after we get off this interview. So no, that does make sense for you not to know fully yet. So, and also I think a lot of times people put a lot of pressure on themselves, and like the stuff that you have shown, it looks incredible, I have to say. And I'm not someone that lies and just like makes the guests happy. I'm going to tell you for real what I think. And so I think you're doing a fantastic job at your collection from what I've seen. So I can't wait to see whatever it is that you have coming. And
Me
I want people support Hollins and Haynes. HollinsHaynes.com, right?
Yep.com.
We're gonna put it in. I'm gonna link everything. And also you have a couple like singles out that they can go get now. Go support Alexis, because like I said, she can sing, not sing. S-A-N, it's a difference. All right, so we're going to end part one, and in part two, I'm going to talk to Alexis about Tyler Perry. So click on part two. All right.
Passion, romance, sex, sin, pain, and death. Love unexpected. When you think you know your partner, think again.